Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Aries Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're gonna talk about motherfucking Mars through the signs. Yeah, Mars through the motherfucking signs, but I must make a disclaimer before I get into this. Let me make a quick disclaimer real fast. I must make this disclaimer. Mars don't give a fuck about no goddamn Tauruses. Mars don't give a damn about no goddamn Cancers. And Mars don't give a fuck about no goddamn Libras either. So, you know, if you hear something that you may disagree with, if you got Mars in one of these three signs, that, hey, it's not my fault, but goddamn, I got to tell you a little bit of something about Mars. I got to tell you a little bit of something about Mars, because Mars is a bad motherfucker. But like I said, there's a positive and negative attribute to every angle, every sign. So for the most part, you ain't really got nothing to worry about, but I'm just giving you a heads up before we get into anything deep. You know what I'm saying? So you may be carrying out and pushing out certain energies that you may be unaware that you're doing. So the results that you're creating, anytime you're in a circumstance or situation where you don't see the maximum results of something that you're passionately involved with, this may be the problem and the issue. Now, if you have Mars through one of those three signs, but for the most part, what is Mars in general? Mars is your intent, willpower, passion, motivation, desires, your goals, which ultimately becomes your alternative motives. So for the most part, you know, the only time Mars can play out negative, because like I said, there's a positive and negative to every energy. Same way, this is why planets rule two signs. They have a male attribute and a feminine attribute to the planet. You see what I'm saying? So it's still the same character. So the only time Mars could be played out negatively is when someone plays a shape and form in your life as an obstacle, or holding you back, or playing as a road blockage from you getting to your goals, or something that you passionately want to do, or something that you desire. Just think about in your everyday life. Think about something you desire. Think about you got a blunt at the crib, right? No, you got a blunt in the car, right? But you can't leave the store because whoever you seen in the store that you know keep talking. They talking too goddamn much, and you can't get to the motherfucking car. You like, goddamn, man, this motherfucker talking so goddamn much. I just want to get to the motherfucking car. Boom. You know what I'm saying? So that's someone stopping you from something you passionately want to do. You know, on the most minute level. That's someone stopping you from what you passionately want to do. Now, based upon how your Mars is situated and how it's correlated and the angles that's going on with it and how it's structured, that's going to show you how you express your aggression, how you express your aggression towards the opposition. Or this is going to show you how you actually obtain your goals, or how you try to reach your goals, or the passion you have in it. You see what I'm saying? So that's the only time Mars can play out negatively, when someone plays as a road blockage, and then all that intent have to turn into aggression. But for the most part, Mars in general is just straight up your intentions, your alternative motives, your goals, your passions, your motives. You know what I'm saying? Your motivation. It's your tool. It's like it's your Red Bull. It's like your energy pill. See what I'm saying? So for the most part, now, when we talk about Mars through the signs, we're going to start off with Aries. Now, it loves to be here. Now, this is some things Aries, Capricorns, and Scorpio is going to have in common. The same way Libras, Pisces, and Taurus, they all have something in common. They all understand this kind of love attribute when they're dealing with Venus. When we talk about Scorpios, Capricorns, and Aries, they all share something in common. And a lot of people may say it's hatred or anger, but a lot of times it's not that. It's just purely competition. Now, this is what they share in common. Now, Mars is like the soldier. It's like the fight. Now, I hate using even the word soldier, because any analogy you bring around soldier leads into like serving something, or being a servant, or, you know what I'm saying, being ran. So, you know, I like to say Mars is the loner. Mars like to go on its own accord, you know, and it doesn't like to apply itself with other people's ambitions or other people's intentions, because other people's intentions could be a form of a road blockage for your intentions. Now, Mars understand that clearly. So Mars don't really have time to sit here and try to relate and bond with someone else's intentions and someone else's alternative motives, or even to the point of degree trying to make themselves a part of someone else's intentions. So, you know, Mars and Aries right here is almost the person who, like, when you look at Aries, it's cardinal fire, initiating and creating new ways of how to see and feel about the world that it's in. So when you got Mars here, it's doing that towards all its goals, all its intentions, all its passions. Mars work better in Aries than the sun. The sun could exhaust itself in Aries. So when you talk about Mars in Aries, you can have any sign in the sun or the moon. When you have Mars in Aries, you're able to take your goals and your desires and passionately go for them without having to look for examples or wait for someone to light a fire underneath your ass in order for you to jump up on your ass and do it. When you are very ambitious when you got Mars in Aries, because you are a person who look at everybody else's goals, you look at everybody else's intent, what everybody else desire, you end up developing your own desires, your own passions, and then you initiate and create new ways of how to see and feel about these things. So you become a trailblazer. You become very creative, very imaginative, very expressive, very action orientated towards your goals and your desires in a lot of broad ways. Now, the negative that this can play out is anytime somebody try to come apply their intentions or give you ideas and add on your intentions and add on your goals, it could become a complete opposition moment, because you would look at that straight up as a form of a blockage, even if it's some good advice. You know, so try to understand and learn how to decipher between good advice and someone just actually just trying to make themselves a part of what you already got going on. Now, when we go to Mars and Taurus, and like I said, I don't really give a fuck about y'all off that back, because like I said, off the back, it's kind of slowing. It slows it down. Now, right now, Earth got to slow down. They got to think now. And they got to think in one spot. Because when you think about Taurus, this is fixed Earth, being fixated on its own way of thinking and being practical. So Mars like, damn, I got to think. I can't just go for it. I gotta sit and practicalize. I gotta make sure I'm situated back at home with my foundation and security before I think about leaving. I might not ever come back here. You know, that's how Mars stays. Mars like, man, I might not ever come back here. Why the fuck I gotta make sure it is secure? Can't do that in Taurus. So this kind of hurts Mars a little bit. So Mars has to take its intent, willpower, passions, and motivations and gear it towards stability, or gear it towards some type of foundation or some type of security and things of that nature. Now, here's what may fuck things up a little bit, you know, because Mars is like a yang, fiery type of planet. So it's more in the yin realm. So when anything it just wants to express, but it's really more yin realm. It's more about feeling. But here's the thing. We live in the earth realm, and here's what happens. Anytime you talk about an earth sign carry the actual qualities that actually rules this realm we are in. So a lot of times earth signs in generals are masters over this realm. They just have to make sure they're not getting lost in this realm. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, here's the positive attributes where it's going to come to Mars being in Taurus. All that ambition, passion goes towards earth type shit. So when people wasting their ambition and passions on goals or dreams that may be out of their hands or out of their reach, Mars and Taurus signs are taking all that passion and intent and doing it towards things that make sense, as far as getting a job, creating stability, security, creating foundation. Now, like I said, it may create a fixated situation for you to the point that you get a job or you do something and you fixate yourself in that to the point that you don't see it no other way and you don't want to leave this area. But like I said, we in the earth realm. That's what we doing anyway. Anybody who start a business, you damn sure that motherfucker want to fixate them motherfucking selves in the business and make sure they fight for their position, that nobody else come take their position. You see what I'm saying? And they fight for that business so they can have it as long as forever, that they motherfucking kids, grandkids, and everybody else can apply themselves to the same goddamn business. So like I said, it's a gift and a curse. Spiritually, your ass is staying in this realm of reality. Physically, your ass is building up a pretty ass dream for your realm of reality. So you see what I'm saying? It's a gift and a curse. But you know, you Mars and Tauruses, that's like I said, y'all may get lost in the physical, but y'all know how to tie the spirit to the physical. AKA, y'all know how to give meaning and reasoning to the possessions that y'all actually want to obtain in y'all life in the first place. Now, when you talk about Mars and Gemini, now Gemini is mutable air. So Mars speed up. But Mars may be a little too fast here. See, now, and then Mars, for the most part, Mars like to still shine. It likes to still show fire. But air is not necessarily showing fire, it's blowing fire around. So when you look at Mars in Gemini, Gemini is mutable air, being mutable and being able to adapt to your own or other people's ways of thinking, communicating. So they like to come to the broad perspective on how multiple people think and communicate. So this ties into natures of curiosity. This ties into nature of wanting to obtain information and just wanting to communicate in some way, shape, or form. When Mars here, this becomes a person's intent. This becomes a person's passion, motivation, desire. Now a person can get so passionately involved into forms of communicating and things of that nature to the point that it becomes aggressive or too much for others. To the point that you may talk too much if you got Mars in Gemini. You may like to overtalk others. You may like to always get your point across. You may like to have friendly debates. You may like to argue a lot. Now this is a person who may not necessarily be as gossipy, but this is a person who may the person who liked the gossip might not even like to be around, because when they come around this person can just talk about any and every fucking thing. Now it could play out into little mundane things and things of that nature, like a person may like to may be into sports. Person like to communicate about they may be into karate, Bruce Lee type things, or they may be just into certain things that's dealing with action, and they like to analyze and formulate their thoughts based upon war-like structure. So when I say war-like structure, I don't mean like war, how everybody in America going to war now, but I mean like war on how to kind of get over, how to get ahead, how to kind of get your desires out without someone else's alternative motives blocking yours. So this is kind of how you mentally like to think. This is how you have your this is how you have your communications. So a lot of times you may give off the intentions or that you may give off the impression and the intentions to others that feel like you got alternative motives, or feel like you got you're trying to do something, or you're trying to manipulate, and you're trying to use your words to do it. You're trying to use your words to get your desires or your passions. So you may be a slick talker. You may be a person who can slick their way into certain circumstances and situations. You can slick your way into a job without even showing no actions that you know how to do the job. Just the way you was talking, you talk like you automatically knew what you was doing. And then as soon as you got the job, your actions show you don't know what the fuck you doing. But for the most part, with that Mars and Gemini, it'll show that your ass was talented enough with the words to actually get your desires or your passions, or to get your intent out there, get your alternative motives across. But make sure you're not forcefully doing that, because like I said, Mars can always turn into aggression. Anytime somebody come into your life and try to block or play the role of blocking or hindering to your desires, that's when Mars can become aggressive. So you can start to, as Mars and Gemini, you can use your mouth for aggressive content, or utilize your mouth to damage your desires, and may even burn bridges to the point that you can't even get from point A to point B like you perceived it. Mars in Cancer. Now, like I said, it's another sign that Mars may not motherfucking necessarily like, because now Mars is in water. So it's like, it got to cool off. It got to calm down. It got to slow down. It can't be thinking about a bunch of imaginations. It got to soak on one specific imagination and make sure this imagination is actually sufficient or not to be withheld in or to be let go. But it has to understand that world. Mars don't like to do that. It's another form of slowing down. So with Mars being in Cancer, it's like, damn. When Mars want to go out and fight for his intent, willpower, passions, and motivations and desires, it has to worry about the emotional state of others. It has to worry about the comfort of others. If others going to be uncomfortable or not, just because I'm going for my desires and passions and motivations. You see what I'm saying? You got to start to worry about home and worry about family and things. So it ties Mars down. So it ties a person's goals and intentions down based upon the things that they're connected to, whether that's a person, place, or thing. When they have Mars in Cancer. Now Mars actually falls here, so I like to say anytime a planet falls, it's in a sleep state. So when you sleep, you either have good dreams, nightmares, or you have something in between. So for the most part, the nightmares would be like playing out in a person's life as doubt. So when a planet sleep and they having a nightmare, it plays out as extreme doubt. So since we talk about Mars and Cancer, a person who got Mars and Cancer will play extreme doubt energies when it comes to their goals and their intent. Sometimes they get blurry. Sometimes things get cloudy. They don't really believe in their goals, their desires, their passions, their intent, their alternative motives. A lot of times they feel like their alternative motives and their intentions is not really real, so they have to correlate and resonate with what's comfortable to be what's real. So a lot of times they like to set their alternative motives aside and like to correlate with the feelings and the vibrations. But when they're in a place of business, they need to understand that in a place of a business, it's all business and nothing personal. And things could get the lines could get very blurry between the two when we talk about people who got Mars in Cancer. Now, for the most part, this would create situations for them to start putting up guards on their desires and things of that nature, because they start creating scenarios and that make them think that every time they go all out for their desires or go all out for their passions and their goals, something that they're connected to end up being hurt or end up being messed up, and that's not right for a Cancer and Mars. And then even their life situations be based upon these things a lot of times. So it's almost like a non-letting go type of thing. So, you know, and then it could play out in a beautiful dream. Anytime they jump into the energy of just saying, fuck it, and I'm gonna just go for my desires and passions and motivations, and fuck everything else. What you need to understand is experience is never gonna turn out the way you think of it anyway. So, Cancer, stop manifesting situations. Just being in that vibration, because it's just going to play out similar like it. But if you wasn't in that vibration at all, you see what I'm saying? So anytime you step into that energy, if you got Mars and Cancer, just fucking, I'm going, look, the experience ain't going to turn out how you thought it was anyway. So you ain't going to have that feeling of people going to be hurt or things of that nature. Then you're going to end up doing something that you never thought you could do before. See, but don't get lost in that energy either, because then you'll start tying yourself to that feeling like, okay, where every time I jump into that feeling, that means I can accomplish something. Then you start taking that for granted. So you have to learn how to balance. See, Mars is like Mars being at the beach and swimming underneath the water, but ain't no chlorine or nothing like that, so you can't even see, so it's blurry, so you really don't see your direction, so you're going purely off vibration. So anytime you're in a vibe or around people, places, and things that don't match your vibe, make you very uncomfortable, especially when it's geared towards your desires, passions, and motivations and desires. So, you know, Mars get a headache in Cancer, basically. You'll get a headache over your desires, goals, passions, and motivations. It'll either frustrate you and make you go all out for it, or either frustrate you and make you kind of doubt it and things of that nature. But for the most part, you're gonna hold on to something. You're gonna care about one of each ends of the opposite. But like I said, it's a positive to everything. The positive is that your intentions is to connect. Your intentions is to relate. Your intentions is to care. So you show a lot more concern and a lot more care than others in areas where it's supposed to be at. So even in an area of job or business or something like that, this will make people would think you Capricorns a lot of times, because if you are an evolved Cancer and you learned how to deal with your emotions in a real way and things of that nature, and you became the whole zodiac, then at this point you utilize, and with Mars and Cancer, you utilize all that passion and motivation and desire for what you want to create as a shape and form. So whether it's business or whatever like that, you end up being even more powerful than the Capricorn. Because for the most part, not only do you understand it's all business and not personal, but then you also got this vibe or this aura control over others. Anytime a person got a lot of water or fire in their chart, mainly water, or anybody who know how to attach to others in a real deep emotional way, to the point that you can control a person based upon your emotions, it's very powerful. So when we talk about Cancers, they're masters at this. So anytime when they master an evolved Cancer who master this, and especially a Mars in Cancer, you people y'all know how to separate, and y'all still got people under y'all emotional control a lot of times. Now when we talk about Mars and Leo, now Leo is fixed fire, being fixated on his own way of seeing and feeling about the world that it's in. So a lot of times when Mars is here, this is a person's intent, willpower, passion, motivation, desire. So you know what I'm saying, don't be upset if you're around a person who got Mars and Leo and they're passionately obsessed with themselves. You know what I'm saying? They may like to look in the mirror a lot. They may care a lot about their appearance, and they care a lot how they're seen. Also, they like to express what they can do, their creativity, their visions, their desires, their motivations. They like to, so a lot of times it can become overwhelming, but and then Mars play out like the Sun in Aries. Mars and Leo play out like the Sun in Aries. So you see how that the interchanging of the ruler signs play out, because the Sun rules Leo but Mars rules Aries, but how they hurt each other when they're opposites. When Mars is in Leo, that's actually almost like Aries with the sun in Aries. You see what I'm saying? Because for the most part, all your intentions and passions is to be seen. So you become more selfish than selfless, or you become more selfish than self-centered, to the point that you become not even caring of other people seeing you or not. You're just going straight forward and dare if anybody try to come change the way you see or feel about your desires or passions or motivations or your goals in any way, shape, and form. So this makes a very highly dedicated person, but this going to make a very hurt and spiteful person when they don't reach their goals. And anybody who come try to give them advice or come try to rub it in their face about it can get lashed at on the most highest level and get bit by the motherfucking lion, queen, or king, or whatever circumstance. You see what I'm saying? So try not to make these people feel embarrassed or vulnerable about them not accessing their goals and you seeing it that way also. Try not to show or try to express that you see it like that. Try to always express around them that they always have the ability to keep going. Oh, this shit about to die. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind also. Now, when we talk about motherfucking Mars and motherfucking Virgo. Matter of fact, I'm gonna split this off so it don't split two off by itself. Flight boss, bitch, goddamn Aries.